Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to show you all the dividends I received from my Vanguard ETFs as well as VTSAX, which is a mutual fund. I know a lot of people, when we invest into like our 401ks or things like that, retirement IRAs, we really don't look at the dividends, but I think it's very important to look at those and see if they're growing over time. So we're going to go over all these. I'm going to show you the proof that I received these dividends rather than just read these off from a spreadsheet like most people do. So here we are. We're looking at right now my M1 IRA. It's my Average Joe Dividends IRA. Usually I go over my taxable brokerage account. You can see here we were above the $700,000 mark. We're just below it. With the market downturn, you can see where we're at. We were at over $725,000 at one point, but we zipped down to 694, back up, and then back down again. So we can see what we've done over the last year with these, and most of what this is in this IRA is VU and VTI with some SCHD and BST. We can take a look at the old time performance. We can see how this has gone up over time from 2019, and I only did a transfer of my my 401k from a prior employer, and haven't added any more funds since. So this has just been riding on dividends being reinvested. But you can see though with COVID how it went back down to 312, and look at where it's at now. It's more than doubled in the worth of this IRA. But let's go and jump into the activity logs. I want to show you proof of those dividends, and you can see right up top we have VU, which paid $830.95, and then VTI that paid $715.83. So again, I wanted to show you the proof by going into the activity log here in M1. I also have a Vanguard account. I have a taxable brokerage account, a traditional IRA, as well as a Roth IRA, but I can't log into those and really show you what the proof. But what I did was I generated reports off of those from Vanguard, and I blacked out my account information. Vanguard's really hard to show the proof in the activity log because it shows your name and your account. There's no way to get around that, so that's why I did these reports. And here's the report from my Vanguard taxable account, and we'll just go through the dividends here. So the first one was from VYM that paid $9.31, and then VTSAX that paid $288.83, and I took that as cash. This one, the VYM, that was dripped. I just bought more VYM with that. And then next up was VXUS that paid me $638.45. I also took that as cash, as well as VU $144.39. And then the VUG, $12.11. I dripped that back into VUG. So I dripped VUG and VYM, and I took VTSAX, VXUS, and VU as cash. So we'll move on to the Vanguard traditional brokerage account. So this is another IRA I have out there in addition to this M1 IRA. And I'll read these off the actual dividends. So we have VXUS that paid me $333.45, and that was dripped. You can see the reinvestment right there. That bought more. You can see the quantities 5.63. Let's see if it shows over here the reinvestments. Yeah, so you can see those reinvestments of those two and what it bought with the quantities. So it added more VYM and VUG. We'll go back to the traditional sheet. And the next dividend was VYM, $41.71, and then that was a reinvestment, and it bought 0.325 shares. And then VTI, that was the big one here, that paid $822.45, and then it was reinvested back into VTI and bought 2.774 shares. And there's no other transactions on there. So we'll go to the Vanguard Roth account. There's only one thing I own in there, and that's VXUS. And the dividend was 116.72. And then there was a reinvestment, and it bought 1.971 more shares of VXUS. So I'm going to go over to my Google Doc spreadsheet, and here's where I have these investments listed. You can see all of them with the traditional IRA, the Roth brokerage account, and then my taxable brokerage account. And then over here, here's the VU and VTI. And then I've put those dividends received from the sheet and also from M1. I've put those amounts all here, but we're really worried about right here with the, here's the Vanguard. Those totaled up to 2407, so most of it is right here in the Vanguard. And then when we add the two positions over in M1, an additional 1546, we'll get the total over here. I just put them down here. Let's see, right here. There we go. So we can see the totals for VU. I had it in two places. I have it in a taxable brokerage account as well as my IRA right here in M1. And so I received a total of $975.34. And then VTI, that is, I have that in two places as well. That's over at my IRA at M1. And it's also right here on my traditional IRA at Vanguard. So I received 1538.28, so most of it came right there. And then VTSAX, that is in my taxable brokerage account over at Vanguard, and that one paid the 288.83. And then VXUS, that is in a few places. It's in my traditional IRA, it's in my Roth, and it's also in my taxable brokerage account. So I had to add up all three of those. You can see the math right there at 1088.62. And then VYM, that was in the IRA, traditional IRA, as well as my taxable, and then that total was 5102. And then VUG, that's only in my taxable brokerage account for 1211. So you can see the total $3,954.20, and most of that was reinvested right back into those ETFs. And also, well, it wasn't invested in VTSAX because I took this cash VU, VTSAX, and VXUS. So those three were not reinvested, but the rest of them, including here, they were reinvested right back into VU and VTI. I'll show you the activity log too. There's the two buys right there. So we can see what that bought. So 2.42426 of that VTI, and then VU that bought 1.51348 with that dividend drip right there. So to close that out, let's take a look at some history on the dividends. We'll look at VU, VTI. I think VTI I've got pulled over here at Dividend Investor, and I just typed in, the ticker symbol there, and I went to the dividend history. So let's take a look at, in 2024, VTI paid $3.67. So let's go back to 2023. So 367 from 341. So it went up there. So 341. So is at $3.18 in 2022. So trending upward. It was at 293. Yep, so moving up still there. So 293. Then it went, looks like it went, down. So 2020 was 276, so it's still moving upwards. But you can see 219, it did go down from 2019 to 2020 because of COVID. So it went from $2.90 to 276. And that's the only history right there. I like this sheet because it shows, or dividendinvestor.com, it shows the annuals. And when you go to Vanguard, it shows like just each quarter. I don't think it tabulates them, counts them up. So let's take a look at VU. I'm sure it's going to have like the same movement there as VTI. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. Go to dividend history detail there. And so for 2024, we had $6.70, $6.35, $5.94, 540, 543, 530, and 550. Same thing from 2019 to 2020. We had it go down in 2020, but then back up. So you can see 550, and we're well. Let's see if we're well past that now. Yeah, we're up to 670 now. You can see how it's moved up. Let's look at VXUS. I think this one's going to be more variable since it's international. Let's take a look and see if it's consistently going up. I don't think it has. I think it's going to be kind of hit or miss with that. Let's see though overall over the past few years if we're trending up at least. So the dividends for 2024 for VXUS again is an international stock index. So $1.98 2024, $1.88, $1.59. So far so good going up. And then 2021, so $1.96. Yeah, so it went down in 2022. And $1.28. So it went from $1.28 to $1.96 and went way up, then kind of down. Let's see 2019, $1.70. See, there's some inconsistency here. This is probably COVID again. So going from $1.70 to $1.28 and then up to $1.96, but then back down to $1.59. So VXUS is kind of variable all over the place. Let's take a look at VYM, which is the, let's take a look here. This is a dividend growth kind of ETF here. Yeah, it's a high dividend yield ETF for Vanguard. So we'll take a look at the dividend history detailed. I think this one would be more consistent, kind of like VU. It pays a higher yield. So 2024 is $3.49, $3.47. So it barely went up from 2023 to 2024. And then it did go up from 2022 to 2023 just a little bit. So VYM is not raising their dividend very highly, but it is going up. So $3.96. So going up there. And then $2.90. So let's see here what it did from 2019, $2.80. So actually VYM has been more consistent, but it's been slowly growing that dividend. You can see from $2.84 to now $3.49. So VYM has been the most consistent so far. Let's take a look at VUG, which is not really a high dividend payer, but it does pay a dividend. It's more of a growth. Put VUG in there, and let's pull this up. There we go, finally responding. So this is, yeah, Vanguard's growth ETF. I'll go to dividend history detail. Take a look at the 2024 dividend. It was $1.91. So it's $1.80 in 2023, $1.49 2022, $1.54. So it went down from 2021 to 2022. And then 2020, it was $1.68. So kind of trending downwards a little bit, but back up in 2023. And then actually, yeah, so $1.73 was in 2019. So it took a little while to regain the dividend there. It took till 2023 to go, and then now it's going trending back upwards. So VYM has been the most consistent with the dividend, with VTI growing and VTSAX growing, with the exception of COVID. So again, here the dividends $3,954, and that's been, so far it's been, most of my dividends has been from the Vanguard right over here. And I haven't tabulated the total for my dividend portfolio, the taxable brokerage account over at M1, which are the focus of my videos, because I have not received my last dividend. So let me know in the comments below, do you own any of these Vanguard ETFs or mutual funds, with VTSAX being the one mutual fund? So let me know in the comments if you own those in your 401k or taxable brokerage account, or or anything similar to it, like Schwab, Fidelity. They have similar indexes as well. So thanks for sticking to the end.